horror has always been a genre that's been, thought-provoking when it comes to stuff that's happening in the news and real-world events.
Just remember to smile and act happy, okay?
Drive-by movies, you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name's Blaise.
And I am James.
And this week, we're talking the movie Companion.
The days of you controlling me are over.
Are you breaking up with me?
It's not you. It's me.
Zach Krieger brought us Barbarian, one of the most fun movies of the last few years horror-wise, and we thought he was going to direct a movie. No, he came back with producing Companion, which is about a weekend getaway with friends at a remote cabin that turns into chaos after it's revealed that one of the guests is not what they seem. So this is a movie that a lot of people, I think, were very upset about the trailers spoiling a lot. Luckily, I just kept hearing, Blaise, you're wearing a Beyond Fest shirt. Funny enough, I follow, not funny enough. I love Beyond Fest because you got me into them. But I follow them on Instagram and Twitter. I'm sure some of our watchers might, but a lot of people probably aren't aware what Beyond Fest is. They're one of the bigger, just fun promotional screening groups in Los Angeles that gets rights to show off horror films for the first time just because they have such a huge following. But then, of course, they also host one of the biggest horror film festivals in Los Angeles, known as Beyond Fest. They kept posting nonstop, do not watch any of the marketing for Companion, go in blind. So I knew ahead of time to go in that way. And after seeing the trailers, after watching the movie, I can see why. Because what a jaw-dropping twist it would have been seeing what goes down with Sophie Thatcher about 40 minutes into the movie. But for those of you who don't know, the movie has to do with robots and stuff. Blaise, what are your thoughts coming out of this movie?
So yeah, I was really surprised by this movie. I felt like I thought I was going to be interested enough in it because it had Zach Krieger. I remember watching that first trailer, and I don't think the first trailer actually exposed anything. I think it was that second trailer that did come out, a month or so before the movie. But that first trailer that was 3 months ahead of the movie, I don't think it showed anything. It was just a series of interesting shots showing off kind of the cinematography and kind of all the insane, batshit craziness that ensues in the film, and that already locked me in where I'm like, all right, Zach Krieger, I'm good to go. I definitely thought that this was Zach Krieger's sophomore movie at first, I think, when I saw his name pop up. But yeah, he just produced this movie, and I have to say, this was one where, even though I kind of knew, I don't know if, the twist, I guess I did know that. I think it becomes unavoidable, the amount of movies that we see in theaters, to miss and skip trailers. Unless you're literally sitting down, you're going to run out of the theater, and I'm good on that one, but seeing this, even though, technically I guess it was spoiled for me for the most part, I still really enjoyed it. I thought this was such a tight-knit script and just a really impressive directorial debut for Drew Hancock.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that Zach, coming off of Barbarian, I remember the next big thing was all these studios fighting to get the rights to his second film that hasn't even been made yet. I think he had a script ready to go for a second film, and studios are being here's 20 million. We want you to be part of our studio. That was huge news that we're talking about when we first started bringing up Barbarian. But look what he does with this, though. Instead, he just says, I have enough name and enough cred with Barbarian. Let me produce another guy's first feature film and let him start, getting to be able to do his own thing in the future. And that's fantastic. And what a debut by Drew Hancock. My only problem with this movie is overall, it's not the most original movie, but it definitely feels very authentic for the story it's trying to tell. Because a lot of movies try to go into AI and as well as robotic stuff that feel very reminiscent to what's going on in the world today. And, this movie does bring up a lot of real world things like what horror should be doing, like politics, but with not being too loud, but still understanding the true meaning of what they're trying to say within real life aspects. And this movie captures that very well. But just overall, like I said, the beats are very recognizable and the storyline's very familiar. If you've seen Ex Machina, it's a very similar story of just what's going on, which is like, can you trust this? Can you trust that? What's real? What isn't? So, but still very different movies on their own, essentially, though. So this movie, while not the most original premise, though, still feels very fresh, and it comes to life very well, I thought, from the performances.
I think especially this is a good movie to be that directorial debut versus, you know, the sophomore effort of Zach Krieger, because, hey, it's not that, maybe it's not that original, or repurpose these kind of themes that we've seen before and kind of puts, you know, that subtlety behind it of, like, I guess you could say a political message, or like you're saying real world events that kind of are going on. And this is similar enough, you know, you can have those takeaways. Horror has always been a genre that's been, you know, thought-provoking when it comes to stuff that's happening in the news and real world events, and always had something to say. At least most of us think that. But anyways, like, yeah, I would say that it also is pared down like a directorial debut, where there's a limited amount of characters, there's a very limited amount of locations, and for this to be a sophomore movie from somebody who already went through that wouldn't be as impressive. But for this to be that directorial debut from Drew Hancock makes it really impressive that you kind of honed everything down into having, you know, limited locations, limited amount of characters, and really told a captivating story that had twists and turns throughout it, and really had moments for kind of everyone, like where it was really funny at times. I did watch this at home, so I have to say, like, I kind of did wish I caught this in theaters, but it kind of left before I got the chance to. But yeah, like, I feel like this would have played really well in theaters. I'm kind of jealous of you because I know that's how you caught it.
Yeah, I got to see that Quentin Tarantino's The Vista Theater. And, you know, actually, what was funny was my girlfriend at the time when the movie got out, she was in the bathroom. And at the time, like, I was just waiting in the lobby, and one of the guys who was very interested in film and very excited to be working at the Vista just said, "What'd you think of the movie?" and stuff. And I was like, blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Well, you know, this is a film copy." I was like, "Yeah, that's why I'm here, buddy." But I did have a fun conversation with him. If you happen to be watching this, Vista employee, I really enjoyed our conversation. But I thought it was cool that, you know, this is a movie shot on a digital camera, and just why they have a film copy. Like, you know, we know for certain studios they would make film copies to send out to any of those older theaters that are still having film projectors, whereas this theater specifically is like, no, we want movies to play on film. And so it's cool that studios are still busting out these copies for a theater like that. And just the employee I was talking to about it, though, just seemed very excited that the studio would even do that as well too. But yeah, cool that I got to see a movie shot on digital and looks very digital on 35 millimeter, because it still gave it a very warm cinematic feel, and really enjoyed watching it that way with a fun audience that was cracking up at a lot of the jokes, and of course a lot of the over the top gore moments. You know, while watching this movie, it kind of reminded me of the horror Christmas film Better Watch Out, that's kind of slowly become a cult classic. You and I saw that in theaters, at a theater with only like 30 seats. It was empty, but we had a blast watching it. It's cool to see it blowing up slowly over time. But while watching that movie, and same thing while watching this movie, it's just like everything just keeps escalating. It's just like, I see what you were trying to do, but like, you're not going to get away with this. And just seeing everything keep going wrong and wrong for the villains of this movie. And they're just like, damn, it is such a fun watch. And like, you know, like I said, it's not the most original movie, but damn, this movie just does it well, though.
Yeah, it's definitely packs a lot of movie into that 90 minutes and keeps you, I would say, like, you can kind of see where it's going, but you're still on the edge of your seat because it's always coming up with new inventive ways to kind of approach this topic that, like you said, we've seen it before. Like, we've seen Ex Machina before, and that's like a very high level, but this takes that kind of concept and does it in a really fun way that feels fresh, and it just really takes you on this journey. And it's an awesome genre movie, where I'd say like Ex Machina, it's still a genre movie, but this really cranks it up to 11 and has a ton of fun with it.
Yeah, 100%. And just, you know, like, I can see a lot of people, like, you know, kind of forgetting about this just because it wasn't really a box office hit. It wasn't necessarily a box office disaster, though. This movie's all shot basically on one location. You know, of course, it leaves that location, but, you know, this movie, you can tell it wasn't really the most expensive movie, but knows what it's trying to do and works well with what it was trying to accomplish. And that's what it is. So, this movie, I can see it blowing up over time through TikTok, through fun midnight screenings over the future, and then just over with its young cast of people that you recognize, but like are still slowly blowing up. Like, everyone in this movie is on a popular TV show, whether it's What We Do in the Shadows, Yellow Jackets, or The Boys. It's all people in very famous TV shows getting their movies shot. So this movie, I can see it becoming like a cult like phenomenon over time, especially as AI and robots just keep being put into our society more and more over the next couple of years. So, I checked it out in theaters. You checked it out on demand. Be sure to catch it either way you can. A great way to help support the show. Just leave a comment down below letting us know what you thought about the movie. And also you can support us by watching it through our Amazon affiliate link in our description box below.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all our latest updates.
And speaking of updates, be sure to catch all our social media links down below. We got Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, as well as our own personal letterbox accounts. That'll conclude this week's episode. Tune in next week for a brand new video.